Hi everyone, welcome back to science class. In this video, I will discuss the summary of our lesson, separation of substance. In this lesson, I will discuss the different separation methods. But before moving to our topic, I would like to ask a simple question. Why do we need to separate substances? We all are familiar with a lot of mixtures in our surroundings. And we all know that almost all the mixtures have some impurities like unnecessary components, harmful substances, or non-useful substances, etc. So definitely we need to separate this all the things. So my question is, why do we separate substances? So the answer, the first one, it helps to separate harmful substance from a mixture. Example, it helps to separate stones, insects, etc. from pulses, rice, etc. Second one, it helps to separate non-useful substances from a mixture. Example, straining tea leaves from tea. Then it also helps to separate two useful components if we want to use separately. So these all are the needs to separate the substance. Okay, so in this lesson we will discuss the different separation methods. What are they? Hand picking, threshing, winnowing, sieving, sedimentation and decantation, filtration and evaporation. So firstly we can see what is meant by hand picking. Here you can see two images. The first one is grains which contain some impurities. Second one, using our hands to separate these impurities. So that process, picking the impurities, that process is called hand picking. To remove or separate the substance using our hands are called hand picking. Then the second method is a threshing. Have you seen how the farmers are separating the grains from the stalk? Yes, the stalk beaten manually and separating the grains from the stalk. So that process is called a threshing. But in the case of in a higher field, they will use some machines for separating the grains from the stalk. Okay, so that process is called a threshing. The next process is winnowing. Separate the substances using with the help of wind is called a winnowing. Separate the substance with the help of wind is called winnowing. We can see the substance which one is lighter and heavier. We can easily separate with the help of wind. Here you can see the image. Here in this image you can see the lighter particles will be carried away by wind and the heavier particles will settle down and heat. So that is meant by this process of winnowing is depends upon the weight of the substance. It helps to separate heavier and lighter components. Then the next one is sieving. Have you seen your mother are sieving this atta before making chapati? Yes, because it helps to separate the big and small particles with the help of sieves. So separate the components or separate the substance using sieves are called sieving. Next process is sedimentation and decantation. So what is meant by sedimentation? When the heavier components in a mixture settle down after water is added to it, this process is called sedimentation. When the heavier components in a mixture settle down after water is added to it, this process is called sedimentation. Then what is meant by decantation? The process in which the water or any other liquid above the sediment is removed without disturbing the sediments is called a decantation. Okay, so let us we can see with the help of an example. Take 1 glass water and add some soil. After some time, the soil will settle down. This process is called sedimentation. This process is called sedimentation. Here you can see some impurities float on the water, right? Then this impure water is separate from this water or separate from here without disturbing the sediment. This process is called decantation. To remove the impure water without disturb the sediment, that process is called decantation. But still here you can see some fine impurities or fine particles in this water, right? Yes, we need to separate these particles also. So for that process, we will use a medium or filter paper. So such type of process is called filtration. Such type of process is called filtration. So what is meant by filtration? Yes, filtration is a method for separating an insoluble solid from a liquid by passing it through a medium, that is meant by filter paper or any other medium. That process is called a filtration. Next, we can see what is meant by evaporation. Have you ever thought the evaporation is used to separate the substance? Yes, evaporation is used to separate the substance, mainly to separate the salt from the seawater. So what is meant by evaporation? Yes, evaporation is the process in which a liquid gets converted into its vapor. A liquid gets converted into a vapor. That is called evaporation. Then, what is meant by condensation? Yes, the vapor converted into water. The water vapor converted into water. Water vapor converted into water on cooling. That process is called a condensation. Okay, at last we can discuss a saturated solution. Take a glass of water and add 2 or 3 spoons sugar and stir. What we can see? Yes, this sugar will dissolve very quickly. But if we are add more amount of sugar, what will happen? Yes, at a particular time or at a period of time, it will stop to dissolve, right? So such type of solution or such stage of that solution is called saturated solution. Okay, that means by the solute will not dissolve at a point of time. So that solution is called saturated solution. So in this lesson, we discussed different separation methods like hand picking, threshing, winnowing, sieving, sedimentation and decantation, filtration and evaporation. At last, saturated solution. So everyone should read textbook 2-3 times and study well. Okay, thank you.